In today's video, we're going to create this interactive coffee shop sales dashboard in Excel. So I already have Excel open, and this is our data set. So the link to this data set will be in the description box below. And also, when you download this data set, it will be in CSV format. I'll just encourage you to save a copy and go to save as, and then save it as a workbook. That will make it easier. Excel workbook, that will make it easier to work with. So this is our data sets. We have transaction ID, we have date, time, day of the week, so on and so forth. So the first thing we're going to do is create a table. So I'm going to select this first item here in the A1 cell, hold Ctrl and Shift, use the right arrow, and then go down. So we'll select the entire data set. Now you can go to Insert, and then we can insert the table. Make sure my table has headers is selected, and we're just going to click on OK. So to start working, we want to create two helper columns. So in our data set, we have this time column. I would like to create a spread of just similar to the date. We want to also see, sales by time of the day, and we also want to look at the sales by age group. So we have this age. So we're going to create a hour column, and we are also going to create an age group column. So let's come over to this cell. So I'm going to just name this column hour. So let's come to this formula bar here, and we can just use the hour function, and I'm going to open a square bracket, and I'm going to use this @ symbol. So you can just reference the header of the entire column, or you could do this. So I'm just use Ctrl Shift and down, and I'm going to select the entire time column. So now we have two square brackets. I'm just going to remove the first one and close the bracket. So this is what it should look like, and I'm just going to click on enter. So now we have this helper column where this is 3 p.m, this is 10 a.m, this is 6 p.m, so it's in a 24-hour format. And if we come over here, 3 p.m, 10 a.m, 6 p.m, so what we've done is just extract just the hours, so we can work exclusively with the hours, so we can plot a chart for it. Next, we're going to do the same thing for age group. So over here, I'm just going to write age group. Once again, come over to this bar, and we're going to write this formula. Just use if, and then this time, instead of selecting it, I'm just going to reference the column instead of selecting the entire thing, because this is a much longer formula. So I'm going to use a square bracket, and then I'm going to reference the table. So you see that we have all our table here, and then age is an option. So I'm just going to add age, and I'm going to close this square bracket. And if it is less than 26, we're going to assign this as 18 to 25. Oops, not like that. So this is the first age group where we'll have the 18 to 25 group. So the next group is going to be, so what I'm going to do, instead of copying it, typing it out again, I'll just select this entire thing, including the if, with the exception of the equal sign, copy it, and I'm going to paste it here. This time we are doing this for the 26 to 35. So if it is less than 36, this is going to be the 26 to 35 group. 26 to 35. Once again, I'm going to paste again. This time is going to be less than 46, and this is going to be the 36 to 45 group, and then next age block is going to be if less than 56. It's going to be the 46 to 55 age group, and then we're just whatever is left afterward is going to be 56 plus. So I'm going to write it like this: 56 plus. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 open brackets, so we're going to close the brackets 4 times. So I'm just going to give you a moment to look at it. So if we have less than 26, any age less than 26 is automatically within the 18 to 25 range. Same with 36 is within the 26 to 35 range. Less than 46 is within the 36 to 45 range. Less than 56 is 46 to 55 range. And then finally, what is left after that group, it will now be the 56 plus. And I just noticed that I have already made an error. I didn't close this quotation mark there. But anyway, that's it. So just going to click on enter, and this is our age group. So let me just scroll down. So if you didn't get it right, just look at the formula. But that's the formula for this helper column for age group. Now we can go on to start creating our charts. So let's create our first worksheet. For this one, we are going to create our KPIs. So I'm just going to name this worksheet KPIs. Let's start with total sales. So you can just select anywhere on any cell. So I'll just use this, and I'm just going to type total sales here. So I'm just going to use a formula. We're just going to use sum. So here, or we could also write it here. So we're just going to get the sum, and then we'll go back to this sheet where our data set is, and we want to see total sale. I'm going to select this, Control Shift and down, and I'm going to close this bracket, enter, and this is the total sales based on our data set, which is $13,833.41. So you can just change this to dollar, and yeah, this is what we have. So this is our total sales. Next up is going to be number of transactions. So I'm going to write number of transactions, and while we're in this cell, I'll just use count A. So we're going to use this option, that is count A, and once again, let's go back here, and we're going to use the transaction ID for this part. Since we are looking at number of transactions, I'll just go to the top. So we'll use transaction ID starting from here. So Control Shift down so that I can select the entire thing. So here you can reference the table and then the column if you want, but I prefer to do this instead of trying to figure out what it is. So I'll just close this bracket, enter, and based on our data set, in this data set we have 2,000 unique transactions. For the next KPI, it's going to be total customers. Going to come over here, and we're going to use count A, and we are going to use unique. Now we can reference the range we want to search from, which is going to be, we're going to use customer ID. Control Shift and down to select the entire thing, and then we're going to close this bracket, this parenthesis, this entire formula twice, and so we have 489 unique customers in our data set. Next, let's look at the average sale per transaction. So this is going to be average sale per transaction, and we're going to use average here, and we are going to use the total sale column. So I'm just going to come here, total sale, Control Shift down, and I'm going to close this parenthesis, and the average sale per transaction is $6.91. So we're just going to come here and we're going to change the currency to this. Let's move on to the final KPI, which is going to be the proportion of loyalty members to non-loyalty members. So I'm just going to type out loyalty members. On this formula bar, we're going to use count F. So we want to see the count of yeses, the number of yes. So count F. We'll go back to our table and I'm going to go to loyalty member, and from here Control Shift and down, and the count is going to be if it's yes. Close this, and then we're going to divide by the total count of the entire column. So this is going to be count A of the same column. So you can just reference the name of the header of the table, but I'm just going to select this, Control Shift and down to select the entire table, and I'm just going to close this one, enter. So this is the percentage of our loyalty members, which is just 50.2%. So I'm just going to come over here and change it to percentage. We can also add another one. We're going to add a decimal place just to show that okay, it's 50.2%. You can leave it as 50%, you can leave it as 50.2%. There really isn't much of a difference in the case of this data set, but that's the way you do it. But yeah, we are done with our KPIs. Now we can now go to our charts. Let's create a new sheet, which is going to be sales by store location. This first one won't really be a visual. We're going to build the visual ourselves. We won't use a chart, but we're still going to use a pivot table. So select any cell, and we're going to go to insert. We're going to select pivot table, and typically whenever you create a new table, it's automatically table 1. If it's a second table, table 2. But just for the sake of this tutorial, for the beginning, we're just going to select the entire range of values, but henceforth we're just going to use table 1 as reference. So from here I'm just going to select the entire thing using Control Shift and down, so you see that it's table 1, and I'm just going to click on OK. Now let's grab store location, add that to rows, and we're going to get total sale, add that to values. I'm going to remove grand total, so select grand total, right click, and we are going to remove grand total. Select this filter here, this drop down here, go to more sort options, and then select descending Z to A, and we're going to order this by total sale from highest to lowest. So you see that uptown has the highest sale, then downtown, suburb, riverside, and then finally we have midtown. So I'm going to select this value, Control Shift and down, so we can select all the values, and I'm going to change this to currency in dollars. So we're not going to build a visual for this one. We're going to do it step by step when we're creating our dashboard. But yeah, this is the sales by store location. Let's create a new sheet. So I'm going to create a new worksheet, and this is going to be items by revenue. Select any cell, go to insert, and select pivot table. I'm going to reference table 1. So let's start with item. So we're going to put item in rows, and total sale is going to go to values. Let's remove the grand total. Right click and remove grand total. Let's select this filter, go to more sort options, select descending, and we're going to use sum of total sale. Click on OK. So we have sandwich as the highest, matcha, latte, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to use Control Shift down, or you could just manually select everything, and we're going to make this a currency. Let me just close this. Now come over to select anywhere on your pivot table, go to insert, and we're going to use this clustered column charts. Okay, let's start with this. Right click and hide all fill buttons on chart. Next, go over to the title. We're going to select everything, and we're going to change this to items by revenue. Select the entire chart, then come over to font color and select black, so that all the fonts within our chart is going to be black. Select this legend and just delete it. Right click the charts and open this option, format chart area. So while we have border open, it's currently set to automatic, but we're just going to change the border color to white, and we're going to have rounded corners. Next up, let's format this series. So select these bars, and under fill, we're going to go here and select more colors. Color for the bars are going to be 9698 D1, like this. Now come over to series options, and we're going to change the gap width to 100%. Yeah, and this is the chart for items by revenue. Let's now move on to the next visual, which is going to be the sales trend. So we're going to create a new worksheet, and this is going to be sales trend, and select any cell, insert, and we're going to insert a pivot table, and this is going to be table 1. Let's grab date, and we'll have date on the rows column here, and then we'll have total sale in values. So for this date, we'll just use only the month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select date, and I'm going to remove these, and now we'll have only months. So I'm going to come over here, right click, and we're going to remove grand total, and we'll just leave it like this. So use Control Shift and down to select everything, and we can just change this to a different format. So go to home, and we're going to make it a currency, and we can just close this. Select anywhere on your pivot table, insert, and this time we're going to use a line chart like this. Let's start with this. Right click, hide all fill buttons on chart. Next, let's select the title, and we'll change this to sales trend. Select the entire chart area, go to home, and we're going to change the color of all the fonts to black. Select this legend, and you can just delete that. Now select this line, and under line we can change the color. So let's go to color, and we'll use that purple color, and I'm going to scroll down, and we're going to use a smooth line. Let me change the let's remove this extra decimal places. So select that axis, come over to this axis options, under number, reduce the decimal places to 0. I can even do that in total revenue. So you could just go ahead and let me reduce the decimal places to 0 since it's not necessary here. So just the same way, select the axis, go to axis options and reduce the decimal places to 0. Let's go back to sales trend. So under select the entire chart area this time, change the color of the border to white, and then you're going to select rounded corners. Next, we're going to insert some slicers. So we're going to go to insert and then select slicer. We're going to have two slicers. One is going to be for store location and one is going to be for category. So we have store location and category. Click on OK, and we have this. Let me move both of them. We have these two slicers. Now let's format these slicers. So come over to this slicer tab, right click, and then we're going to duplicate it. We can just leave the title as it is. Select whole slicer, format, and under fill, let's start with this. Go to custom, and we're going to use our purple color, which is 9698 D1, and I'm going to click on OK. Go to border, select none, and I'm just going to click on OK. Next, header, format. So I'm currently in the border tab, select none, and go to font, change the font color to white, click on OK. Now in selected item with data, format, go to fill, go to more colors, and I'm going to change this color to F5B0B5, and we're going to click on OK and OK again, and this time we're going to select this one. Same with this one, I'm going to select this option. Let me just change this is store location. I'm just going to move that underscore. So over here, I'll just change the name of the slicer to store location. So this slicer is going to be connected to this, but when we create our dashboard, we are going to connect it to other visuals. But yeah, that's it for the sales trend. Let's move on to the next one. Create a new worksheet, and this is going to be payment method distribution. Select any cell, go to insert, pivot table, and we're going to reference table 1. Now we're going to grab payment method, bring that to rows, and then we're going to bring total sale, and then we're going to bring that to values. Let's remove the grand total. I'm just going to right click and remove grand total. Select any of the items on the cell on the pivot table, go to insert, and we're going to insert a donut chart. Let's start with this. Right click, and we're going to hide all field buttons on chart. Let's change the title to payments method distribution. Select the entire chart area and just change everything, all the text to black. So just change text color to black. I'm going to close this, right click, and I'm just going to format chart area. So for the border, I'm going to change the color to white, and we are going to give it rounded corners. Let's start with this one. I'm going to double click this till we're only selecting this quadrant, and I'm going to go to fill. We're going to change the fill to that purple color. Select this orange side, change it to that pink color, and for this one, select it, go to more colors, and we are going to use B5, D5, C5. And yeah, that's the payment method distribution. Let's move on to the next one, which is sales by time of day. Okay, so select any cell, insert pivot table, and this is going to be table 1, and we're just going to scroll down and we're going to use our helper column, which is the hour column, and bring that to rows, and we're going to bring total sale to values, and I'm just going to right click and remove grand total. Select any item on this pivot table, go to insert, and we're going to use a line chart like this. I forgot to change the format of our numbers, so I'm just going to quickly do that. So I'll just use Ctrl Shift and the down arrow key to select that, and I'm going to change this to dollars. Now I'll right click this button and I'll hide all field buttons on chart, and we're going to see, let's make this hourly sales trend. While the entire chart is selected, just change the font color to black. Select this legend, delete it. Now select this line. Let's select this chart area so I can get a dialog. Select that. Let's select this line, and we're going to change the line color to purple, and we're going to make it a smooth line. Select the chart area, and in the border section, change the outline color to white, and we're going to have rounded corners. Finally, let's remove this extra decimal point. So I'm just going to select this axis here, come over to axis options, go to number, and we're going to reduce the decimal places to 0. And yeah, that's the hourly sales trend for this dataset. Next up will be the sales by age group. So just going to create a new sheet, and this will be sales by age group. Select any cell, insert pivot table, and we're going to reference table 1. Let's go and grab our helper column, which is age group, add that to rows, and we're going to get total sale, add that to values. Next, we're just going to remove this grand total, so right click and we're going to remove grand total. I'm going to select Control Shift and down so I can select everything there, and I'm just going to go to home, and we're going to change this to dollars. Next, let's go to insert, and we're going to use a clustered column chart. Let's start with this. I'm going to right click and we're going to hide all field buttons on chart. Let's change the title. We're going to make this sales by age group. Select the entire chart, come over to this home, and then change the color of the font to black. Now I'm going to, let's delete this legend. Right click, and I'm going to format chart area. So I currently have the border tab open, so I'm just going to change the color of the border to white, and we're going to turn on rounded corners. Next, select these bars. I'm going to go over to fill, and we're going to change it to that purple color. Go over to series options and make the gap width 100%. Next, select this axis and come over to axis options. Select number and reduce the decimal places to 0, and that's it. This is the distribution for sales by age group. Let's now move on to the next chart, which is going to be sales by day of the week. So cell. We're going to select any cell, go ahead and insert a pivot table, and it's going to be table 1. Let's start with day of the week. Add that to rows, and let's grab total sale, add that to values, and we're going to separate this by category. So I'm just going to add category to columns. So I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to right click, remove grand total, select here also, and we're going to remove grand total. So use Ctrl Shift left arrow key and down arrow key to select all these values here, and we're going to make it currency, specifically dollars. Now let's go to insert. We're going to insert a clustered column chart like this. Let me move it to this side. I'm just going to, let's close this for now. I'm going to come over here now, right click this, remove all field buttons on charts, come over here, and we're going to turn on the chart title. We're going to rename this to sales by day of the week. Select the entire chart area and go over to home, change the font color to black. Under border, change the border color to white, and we're going to turn on rounded corners. Let me select this, and I'm just going to delete this legend. Select any of these bars, and we're going to come over here to series options, change the series overlap to 0% and change the gap width to 100%. Let's go back to fill so we can change their colors. Let's start with these ones, which are the ones blue. Change those ones to purple, and the ones that are orange, change them to that rose color. And yeah, that's okay. One final detail, let's remove these extra decimal places. So come over to access options, number, and we're going to reduce the decimal places to 0. Yeah, we are done with the sales by day of the week, which is also separated by the category. Let's move on to the final chart, which is going to be the gender distribution. So I'm going to create a new sheet, and this is going to be gender distribution. Now select any cell, go to insert pivot table, and we're going to reference table 1. We're going to grab gender and bring it to rows, and you can use either the customer ID to know the number of customers. So we have 951 female customers and we have 1049, which is almost an even split, just a difference of 49. Or you could use total sale here. So we have we still have the female customers still make up less of our sales compared to the male customers. So depending on what you are going for, you could use either of them, but I'll just use the customer ID so that we can just get distribution in terms of the number of customers in either gender. So I'm just going to select grand total, and I'm going to remove that. Select anywhere on your pivot table, go to insert, and I'm going to use a donut chart. I'm going to right click, and we're going to hide all field labels on charts, and I'm going to select the entire title, and we're going to change this to gender distribution. Select the entire chart area, go to home, and then change the color of all fonts to black. Now I'm going to right click, and I'm going to format chart area. Okay, we currently have field open. I'm just going to go to border, change the border color to white, and scroll down and turn on rounded corners. Let's now select this series. Click twice so you can select just this one. I'm going to go to fill, go to color, change it to change this one to this lavender color, and then we're going to select this one that represents male, and we're going to change it to this rose color. And yeah, that's it for this chart. With that, we're done with creating all our visuals or all our charts. Now we can go on to create or just build our dashboard. What we're going to do is, anyway, what I like to do is go back to the first sheet, and I'm going to create a new worksheet. Rename this dashboard, and I'm going to move it before the data set. I like having it as the first item, so if you just open this particular file, the first item you see will probably be the dashboard. What we're going to do is go to insert, illustrations, shapes, and we're going to use this rectangle with rounded corners, and I'm just going to draw this here. I'm going to change the height to 16.15, and the width is going to be 35.45. Let me reduce the dimensions. When you zoom in and zoom out, it tends to play around with the dimensions, so I'm just going to do that again. 35.45. Okay, and I'm just going to have it in this corner here. I'm going to grab this handle, and let me just, so I will have a curved edge, but just slightly, something like this. Let's say have it somewhere there. Go to outline, and I'm going to select no outline. Go to fill, and we're going to change the fill to that purple color. While this shape is selected, Ctrl D to duplicate it. This one, we're going to leave the width exactly the same, but we're going to change the height to let's change the height to 12.95, like this. Well, let's reduce the width a bit. So let me make it just slightly. So this second rectangle will be 12.95 by 35.25. Go to fill, and we're going to use this first option here, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and I'm just going to move this till it's about somewhere there. Select both rectangles, go to align center, and you should have something that looks like this. Just try and match. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just have something that looks like this. Now let's insert an icon. I'm going to go to insert, illustrations, and we'll go to icons, and we're going to get this dialog. Just give it a moment to load. I'm going to search for coffee, and I'm going to use this mug icon. I'm just going to bring it around here. Let me change the height to 1.4, and I'm going to change the fill to our rose color. Let's go to insert, illustrations, shapes, and we're going to grab a text box, and I'm just going to name this coffee shop sales dashboard. Select the entire text box, change the alignment here to middle and here to center. Let's change the size of the text to 28, and I'm just going to increase the size of this. Go to shape formats, select no outline for the shape outline, go to fill, and then select no fill. Just going to bring it up. Let's change the color of this text. I think white to look better. So I'm going to change the color of this text to white. I'm just going to grab this and bring it closer. Let's say right around here. Select these two items. I'm going to go to either graphics format or shape format. Go to align, and we're going to align middle. And to make it easier to handle, I'm just going to right click and then group. And we're going to have this, let's see here, just a little off to this side. Let's work on our KPIs next. So the first thing we're going to do is insert some icons. I'm going to go to insert illustrations, and then we're going to select icons. We're going to give this a moment to load. So we're going to insert 5 icons for our 5 KPIs. First one is going to be dollar. Select this one. Next is going to be receipts. I'm going to select this one. Next is going to be person. I'm going to select this icon. Next is going to be calculator. Select this one. And finally, we are going to use search for badge. And I'm going to use this first one. And we can go ahead and insert all 5 icons. While we have all 5 of them selected, I'm just going to change their dimensions to 0.9 by 0.9, and we can also change their fill to the rose color. And I'm going to close this. So this is going to be the first icon we are working with, and I'll just kind of bring it here. Next, go to insert illustrations, shapes, and then we're going to insert a text box. I'm going to draw this text here, and then what I'm going to do is in this formula bar, we're going to use the equal sign. We're going to reference our first KPI, which is the total sale. I'll go to KPIs, and then I'm going to select this cell and then enter. Now we have our total sale KPI here. Let's go to shape formats, select no outline, and fill, select no fill. Go back to home, change the size of this to, sometimes it gets a bit tricky, to 18, and then the color of the font to white. Let's insert another text box. Go to illustrations, and I'm going to insert another text box, and I'm just going to type total sale. Total sale. Same thing, I'm just going to select the text box. Let's change the size of this to 12. Go to shape formats, remove the fill, remove the outline. Let's also change the color of the font to white also. Let's make the alignment of this middle. Let's also make the alignment of this one also middle. And what I'm going to do now is just kind of reduce the width of this as much as possible. Same with this, I'm just going to reduce this. There's no set width. Just going to kind of bring it a little bit closer here, and same with this one. Let's kind of just build out all the KPIs one by one. But before we do that, I'm going to select this, so instead of having to create another one, I'm using Control and Shift. Just hold down Control and Shift, and you'll be able to create a copy of both ones. And since we have 5 KPIs, I'm just going to create so now we have 5 different versions. So once again, just hold down Control and Shift, and then just drag. So I'm going to select all 3. Having issue selecting. Okay, select all 3 of these. Go to shape or graphics format, anyone will do. Align, and go to align middle just to make sure. To make it easier to handle, go to group and then we can group this. Next is going to be number of transactions, so I'm just going to select this second one and just bring it here. Select this and I'm going to clear this. Let's go back to our KPIs and I'm going to select number of transactions, enter, and even though it's already 18, I'm going to type in 18 again. Change the color of the font to white. I'm going to reduce the width of this as much as I can till it fits. Then this, I'm going to rewrite this text. We're going to make this transactions. Increase it so that our text will fit, and I'm just going to bring this close, let's say around here, maybe even bring this one a bit closer. And I'm going to select all three, go to shape formats, align middle, and just go ahead, right click, group, and we're going to group this tree, and we can just move it here a bit. We'll still kind of figure out where everything goes. Let's work on the next one, which is going to be this one. Select this text box, clear out this formula bar, go to KPIs, and we're going to reference total customers and select the text box, change the size to 18, change the color to white, and I'm going to reduce the width of this, and I'm going to change this text to customers. Going to increase the width a bit. I'm going to bring this closer like this, select this, and I'm just going to select all three items, go to either shape or graphics formats, and we're going to use align middle. Right click and then group. Yeah, we're done with this one. Let's now move on to this one. I'm going to bring this closer here. Let's thereabouts. Select this text box. We're going to clear this and we're going to reference the average transactions. Let's change the size of this to 18. Change the color of the font to white, and I'm going to reduce the width of this, and I'm going to change this to average sale, and I'm just going to try and reduce the size of this a bit. And I'm just going to grab this text and I'm going to move it closer here, and I'm going to select all three of these items, go to shape formats, align middle, right click, and then I'm going to group this, going to bring it to this side. We have our final KPI, which is this one, and I'm going to bring this here, select this, clear this, and go back to KPIs. We're going to select this, and I'm going to change the size of this to 18, change the color to white, reduce the size, the width of this box, and I'm just going to type members here, and I'm just going to kind of bring this close, and I'm going to bring this closer. I'm going to select all three of these shape formats, align middle, and then we're going to right click and then group. And what I'm going to do is just move this till it's just on the edge here. Same with this one, bring it a bit closer here. I'm going to select this group. Same with this one, just bring it closer, and then finally we have this one. If we have to move it later on because we're going to add slicers to this part of our dashboard, we will. So I'm going to select all 5 of them, go to either shape or graphics formats, align and align middle. So yeah, this is essentially what I'm going for, and we have all our KPI items. So if we have to move them, in fact I feel like we could actually move them a bit lower. So I'm going to use my arrow keys and just kind of bring them down a little bit so we have a little bit more space between these two. And I'm just going to close that, but we're going to add our slicers here. If we have to move them, we will, but this is what we have for now. Now let's insert a rectangle. So I'm going to go to insert, illustrations, shapes, and I'm going to select this rounded corners rectangle, and I'm just going to bring this around here. Let's remove the outline. I'm going to select no outline, and for the fill of our shape we're going to use this rose color. Let me make this, I'm going to change the curve there. So the height of our rectangle is going to be 7 and the width is going to be 6 cm, like this. Next, let's insert a text box. So I'm going to go to home, insert, illustrations, shapes, and then we have a text box, and I'm going to type this. This is going to be sales by store location. Let me increase the width of this. The size of this text is going to be 12, and I'm going to go to shape format, shape fill, select no fill, and select no outline also, like this. Let me just increase the width so we can see the entire text. Okay, now let's insert an icon. So go to insert, illustrations, and then we're going to insert an icon. Let's search for store, and I'm going to select this one, and I'm just going to insert that. We're going to leave the color as black, but we're going to change the size to 1.1 cm by 1.1 cm, and I'm just going to bring it, let's see, somewhere around here. Probably may still move it around as we build our other visuals, but let's just have it there for now. So I'm going to create a copy of this text box. So we have 5 locations, so I'm just going to create 5 more copies. So I'm using control, and I'm holding that, and I'm just going to create, maybe I should have used shifts. Okay, we have 5 copies of this. Now let's write all our store locations based on how we want to do it. We want to do it from highest to lowest, just as it appears in our table, which we'll look at later. It's uptown first, so I'm going to just write uptown. Uptown. Let me reduce this. Next is downtown. Next location is going to be the suburb. Next is Riverside. And then we have Midtown. Let's go to shape format. I just want to make sure that all our text boxes are all the same height, because I may have changed it, so that when we distribute them, they will all be equal. So we currently have let's make all of them 0.8. So I just use that one as an example. I'm going to select all of this, and I'm going to make all their heights 0.8. While I'm at it, let me just change the alignment of this text. So I'm going to make it center like that, middle like that. And now let's just create another copy of this one, so we can have spaces for other items, which is just the sales they made, the allocation sales. And I'm just going to increase the width of this because we're going to need more space. And I'm going to make this one, there's no need changing it to bold because it's not going to affect the text when we bring it in. But anyway, let's now let's grab our text. So for this particular section, we're going to clear this first, and then come over here, use the equal sign, and then we'll go to sales by store location, and then we'll reference uptown, enter, and then we'll have our sale here. So now we'll just leave the size of our text as 11, but we'll make it bold. And I'm going to change the alignment of this text to the right. Maybe I can just reduce the width of this. Let me make sure that the height is 0.8, same as this one. So I'm going to create more copies of this. Let's create 4 more copies. You can use Control and Shift. I'm just going to use Control, align it later. And I'm just going to create more copies of this. So over here, I'm going to clear this, go to store location, and we're going to grab the value for downtown. Going to make it bold. Same with this one. Clear this, go over to store location, get the value, make the text bold, select this one, clear this, and we are going to go to store location, get the value for Riverside, make the text bold, and finally we have Midtown, store location, and make the text bold. Now let's go over to insert, illustrations, shapes, and we're just going to select a line. Hold shift down, and we're going to draw a line like this. Let's go to outline, and we're going to make the outline color black. Let's make the width 5.5 cm. So select this line, use Control, and we are going to create copies of this line like this. So now let's align everything and then distribute it equally. So let's start with these 2 items. I'm going to select these 2, go to either shape format or graphic format, just use the align option, align middle, and we are going to now, I want to select this icon and select all of this text on the right side, go to either graphics or shape formats. The align option should be there. We're going to align right, select this, all this text on this side, shape formats, align left. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, spacing Kind of looks good. We'll still align everything properly. So I'm going to select the rectangle and then select the lines, and I'm going to go to align, and I'm going to align center. So we have all of these aligned to the right, we have all of these aligned to the left. Maybe we could even I feel like there's more space on the right than there is on the left. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use my arrow key to nudge the items on the right to the edge of the rectangle. And what I'm going to do now is select these two, right click, and let's align them first. Let's align middle, and then we can group it. So what we've done is align this to the right, align this to the left, so all of these are on the same line. Then we can group this so we can distribute it. I don't know if it makes sense. So select this two again, let's align to the middle, and then group. Do the same for this one. No, let's align it first, align it to the middle, and then we can group these two. Oops, let's align middle before, and I'm going to group. Select these two, align middle, and then we can group it. Now I'm just going to kind of move this one. Let me just say I want the last option to have this spacing, and I want, let me see, let's leave this one. Let me select this two. They're already aligned. I will just group them. So I'll just leave this one where it is. So now I can select all of these items, including the lines, and then this one, go to either graphics format or shape format, whichever one, go to align, and now we can distribute vertically. And now when I press on escape, we have this sort of card which displays. Now this is going to be dynamic just like the chart. So when we use slicers, since all of these items are, with the exception of these ones were done with calculations, but this one was done with the pivot table. So when we use our slicers, these values are also going to change, but it will make sense more when we add our slicers and bring in our other charts. But yeah, that's it. So what we can do, I'm just going to use Ctrl Z to undo what because I don't want to go back and select everything again. So while everything is selected like this, I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to group. Now this is a single card. But yeah, that is the sales by store location. Let's go ahead and bring in all our charts. So we're going to start with items by revenue. I'm just going to copy this one, and I'm going to paste it here, and then I'm going to move on to the next one, which is sales trend, and I'm also going to copy our slicers, and I'm going to go back to the dashboard, going to paste it here. Next is going to be payment method distribution. Copy that, go back to our dashboard, and I'm going to paste. Next is going to be sales by time of day, or the hourly sales trend. Paste. Next is going to be sales by age group, and I'm going to paste that here. Sales by day of the week, I'm going to paste that, and finally we're going to have our gender distribution. And I'm just going to randomly paste it there. Alright, let's now change the dimensions of all these charts. So I'm going to start with, let me just move this around so that I can bring this in. I'm going to select all three of these, and I'm just going to change their height to 7. Then these two, we're going to change the width to 10 cm. This one is going to be 8.2. So this one is 7 by 10 cm, 7 by 10 cm, and this one is 7 by 8.2 cm. And I'm just going to move this around. So I'm going to try and have an equal amount of spacing on the left, similar to what we have here on the left. We're going to try and have the same on the right. So I'm just going to move it like this. So now what I'm going to do is select all of this, go to shape formats, align, and I'm going to align top, go to align once more, distribute horizontally, and let's see. The spacing, let me see, maybe I can come in a bit. Let's have a bit more spacing on the sides. Let me kind of bring this in a bit. Okay, let's distribute it again. So select all the charts, go to either shape or graphics format, anyone will do, align and distribute horizontally. And yeah, we have something like this. Now let's bring in the bottom row of our charts. Let me see, there's one more. So I'm going to select all 4 of them. For now, I'm going to go to shape format, and their height is going to be 5.4 for all 4. Then select these 3 with the exception of the donut charts. Make their width 8.75 like that. And I'm just going to, let me bring this one. I'm going to make the height of this, the width of this one just 8 cm. And now I'm going to grab all of them and bring them into our dashboard, and now we can position them. Now this, I'll just put it slightly to this side so I can align it to this one, and I'm just going to bring all of them in, and I'm also going to bring them so that I'm going to use this one to kind of gauge where everything needs to be. So when I align this one to the left, I'll align this one to the right, and then we can now align to the top. I don't know if that makes sense, but let's just go ahead and do that. I'm going to bring this one, and again I'm bringing it slightly in so that I can align it here. Let's start with the one on the left. Select this group, and then select this chart. Go to either shape format or graphics format, align, and we'll align left. Here, for these two, we're going to align right. Now I'm going to select all 4 of them, shape format, align top, and then align again. We're going to distribute horizontally. Now let me exit and see if the spacing looks good or we should change anything. Now you see up here, for me anyway, there's more spacing at the bottom than there is at the top. So what I'm just going to do is select all of this, and let me see. Okay, this looks much better. So we are almost done with our charts. We still have to add in our slicers. Select both slicers, come over to this slicer tab, and we're going to change the height of this to 2.85, and their width is going to be 4.25. And I'm going to bring, let's start with category. We're going to bring this here like this, and I'm going to bring in store location here. So I want to select both of them to see, so there's a bit of space. You can, let me bring this, I'll just move this in a bit. Let me just select both of them so that I can align them. So I'm going to select both slicers, go over to slicer, we're going to align them to the middle like this. Yeah, their position looks fine. So let's check the connection. So for location, anytime I change it, since we created the slicer when we created the sales trend, it's only affecting that particular chart. So we can just change their setting and report connections. So while this one is selected, go over to slicer and then go to report connections, and want to select what we want the slicers to affect. So this is store location. There's no need adding this one because this is based on store location. So we have gender distribution, items by revenue, payment method, sales group, day of the week, store location, skip that, there's no need, and sales by time of day. Click on OK, and now if I select downtown, it should affect the others, midtown, and let me see, uptown. So you can see that all of them are actually changing. So every time we select one, the slicer, the distribution is going to change for each one of them. So this is what it's going to look like for all of them. Let me just zoom out a bit so we can see everything happen all at once. So let me select uptown, downtown, and you can see everything is changing with exception of this one. I'm going to clear this. Let's do the same for category, report connections. So this is for category. I don't think we have specifically anything. We separated this one by category, but there's no charts that is specifically focused on categories. So I think we can just apply to all and see what it looks like. So I'm going to just report connections for all of our pivot tables. Click on OK, and now if I click on this, so this time this is what is happening with this one. Maybe you can change that. You can change that if you want to. So this is what the sales for day of the week for just food is, and this is just for drinks. If you want to change it, you can, but yeah, that's it. This is what it looks like. Yeah, so with that, we have come to the end of this tutorial. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.